What is going on, guys? It is Tony from Lone Wolf Paintball, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about the new Empire Mini GS 2.0.
And why? Because who's the best source for paintball?
LoneWolfPaintball.com.
You saw it here first. All right, guys, obviously that was a little clickbaitish right there. I don't have the Empire Mini GS 2.0, but what I do have is my wish list for what I would like to see on the up-and-coming one. So let's jump right on into it. Before we do, head on over to pbswagbag.com. Use our code LWP10 at checkout to save 10% off your first monthly subscription. All right, Mark, we have a wish list. The Empire Mini GS is one of our favorite beginner speedball guns. The thing can shoot 12 pods. It's been tried and true, different models over all of these years, and it's been around a very long time. Very good gun, but if we're gonna make some upgrades to it, let's talk about them. First off, where do we want to start, Mark?
Well, let's see. Is there anything we want to keep? Anything we like the way it is?
First off, obviously a beginner speedball gun, something like this, they retail about 400 bucks. Fully electronic, programmable, all of that good stuff. What I'm going to keep to try and not make it too expensive for a 2.0 wish list, I'm going to keep the two-piece 14-inch barrel. It comes stock two-piece barrel with a 6.88. Yeah, we all know that the paint these days is a little bit smaller than that. So if you wanted to get your own upgraded barrel kit down the road, you can do that. Auto cocker thread, tons of options on the market. So I'm going to keep the barrel. I think stock out of the box for GS, a two-piece 14-inch barrel, 6.88, it's pretty good with me.
Just so you know, pro tip, I keep my paint in a humidor so that it swells a little bit so it fits those barrels a little better.
There you go. Next, what I'm going to keep other than change for the 2.0, as much as you don't want to have the bulky gauge, and when you screw your tank in here, you got another gauge. For beginners out there to not over-pressurize the gun, a lot of people want to tinker. They want to tinker down here in the regulator. They're going to cause their gauge to go well over 200, which should be the stopping point, and you're going to have internal problems, leaking, etc. So I'm going to keep the gauge for beginners, just so you know, when you start creeping around the 200 mark on the gauge, don't be tinkering anymore. Only mess with the velocity on the back of the gun. That would be my opinion. So I'm going to keep the gauge for the 2.0 just because a lot of the newer kids getting into the sport are going to need a reference if they want to tinker, which you guys know, a lot of paintball dudes take their gun apart, want to tinker with the regs, stuff they don't really know all that much about. So keeping the gauge, keeping the barrel.
All right, what do you think about that feed neck?
The feed neck has got to go for the 2.0 version. It is a composite feed neck. You've got a metal clamping lever here, but the most annoying part on this, I get it, it's a beginner speedball gun. Where is your thumb screw? Having to bust out an Allen wrench to tighten this down or to loosen it, having to mess with that instead of just in a what do you want to call it? I don't know, a little thumb screw there, an adjustable thumb screw. I would definitely recommend that, and I would make the feed neck metal as composed to the composite. I mean, there haven't been a ton of issues with it, but obviously if we're going to make a 2.0 version, might as well go that route. Wish list. It is the wish list. Another thing that I'm wishing hard, Mark, I know its bigger brother has it, and it wouldn't be, cost-wise, I don't know what their manufacturing costs are. The bolt on the back, to get the bolt out, you have to take the screw out here. Instead, why don't you do the push button right on the back, just like the Axe 2.0 has, and you can make it toolless, get it in and get it out easily instead of having to bust out your Allen set and taking the bolt out that way. What do you think?
I like that idea.
It's not a bad one.
Talking about removing stuff, what about removing that trigger to put an upgrade in?
So an upgrade, or if you're going to do a part swap with another Mini, you want a different color trigger, you got to bust out the hammer and dowel. You got to, to really get in there, take your grip off first, and then there's going to be a little silver pin right there. And it doesn't come out easily. It does not. You literally have to use hammer and dowel to get that thing out to replace the trigger, or if you, like I said, if you wanted to part swap it. So kind of like the older brother Axe 2.0, why don't we just do that screw that you can take your Allen screw, just pull it out real quick, change the trigger, and then be done with it and not have to bust out a hammer, stuff like that.
You mentioned taking the grips off to get to that pin. How do you get the grips off?
You're looking at all of these silver screws. You see that right there? You got your 9-volt battery up front. You know what? Why don't you just make it toolless? I mean, I don't know, once again, manufacturing costs, keeping the gun around the $450 price point, but I mean, you got the screws, you're making hundreds or thousands of these guns. I mean, maybe consider doing the toolless up front, maybe keep it in the back or toolless in the back, whatever you guys want to do, or maybe toolless for both. But I think that would be a really cool upgrade for the Mini GS 2.0. The spring on the inside. Would you like to talk about that?
Sure.
I'm
What
gonna
about
keep,
it?
Well, we'll talk about the ASA. I'm going to keep the ASA. I like it. It's got the on-off lever here, so obviously you don't have to worry about hopefully cross-starting your tank, getting it stuck on there. So, release the air and then engage the air. I'm going to keep that ASA as well. Bolt-wise, though, other than having the little toolless press here, the spring. The spring on these guns have been a headache for a lot of techs and people selling guns across the country. So what we can do is show you the spring. So the spring, this gun will not operate properly unless it's actually clicked into place. So here on the spring, attaches to the bolt. It actually has to lock into place for this gun to operate properly. If it's not, if a kid takes this gun apart to lube it, to work on it, service it, and accidentally flips it over, the spring now does not lock in place. It doesn't click in, and this gun does not function properly. A lot of kids will call up your paintball shop, or maybe you are one of those people that realize like, oh wow, it's bigger on one end and smaller on the other, and you didn't know that it actually had to snap into place. So I would change, if possible, I would change that design. But hey, just a wish list for the 2.0. Other than that, Mark, are you thinking anything else? Obviously, we're not going huge. We could go with a board upgrade, but obviously then you're talking a lot more money that way.
Well, I think so. The board in the Mini GS doesn't have an OLED or an LCD screen, correct?
It does not. It's only lights. It does not have any readouts.
Is it the only electronic gun that doesn't have a screen?
No, there's other guns out, like beginner-wise, or
Yeah, well, just electronic. I'm not up on every single
the
model.
higher tier guns will have the readout display screens, but beginner electronics, a lot of the other, like the CZR and stuff, it's all just by lights. That's how you do the programming. There's no readout display screens.
Okay, it'd be nice to have one then.
It'd be cool, but obviously the cost on that's going to shoot through the roof, and you still want it to be priced at a beginner gun. So
Those screens are cheaper than ever, though, to be fair.
That is very true. So maybe, depending on cost-wise, that could be a thought in the future.
So the only thing I'm catching is there's a good chunk of the features that we'd like that are included in the Axe 2.0. So even though this is a Mini 2.0 wish list, guys, if you want some of these features, you can go get the Axe 2.0 right now for what, like $150 more?
$130 more, I believe. You can just step right on up to the Big Brother and get a lot of those features we talked about. The Bigger Brother does have external eye covers. It does have that push button bolt system. The only thing, before we close this out, I would recommend too, the style trigger on the Mini GS has been around for a long time. Maybe make like a flat blade style or something like that, or maybe make an upgrade available for it. So that's another thought as well. They've kept the same kind of curvy style around for a long time. So maybe kind of switch it up, see if people like it. Test it out at the factory, see what your own people think. So
That'd be cool.
Wish list for the Empire Mini GS 2.0. Put in your comments below what you guys would like to see. Put in your comments below, did you own a Mini and go to the Axe, or did you own a Mini and just go way up high? We would like to hear your thoughts and comments on it. Just a couple upgrades that we could do to it. So follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that other good stuff. And until the next wish list, we will see you guys later.
Yeah, let us know if there's any other, what products you want to see a wish list from us. And hey, send us to your local Empire rep and maybe we can make some of them happen.
That's right. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.